I just wanted to highlight those 3 or 4 names because I do think there's very big moves coming on those in the next day or two, if not tomorrow. So before I go into this chart, which is SPY, I just want to note these are names that I'm looking at for momentum. There's plenty of other ones, but these specific ones have very high probabilities to get continuation to the upside. That's going to be Cat, Oklo, IONQ, SMR, ASTS, and BE. Some potential shorts, MSTR, HIMS, Okta, Amazon, and Microsoft. I really love basically all of these charts because every single one of them has the opportunity to move $5 to $25 plus. With some of them, like Oklo, Cat, and MSTR, they honestly can get another $50 to $100 move in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So keep this on watch. And now let's dive into this SPY chart. I want to note that this does look kind of crazy, so forgive all of my different lines. However, there is meaning behind each and every one of these. This has helped me stay on the right side and help me kind of know where to kind of be mindful that we could find exhaustion. Just look at this chart, pay attention to this green zone. This trend zone is from the 2022 lows. Going back in time, back in March and February, when the market got destroyed to the downside, look at where it broke down from. The green zone. I can even go back a little bit further. Look at where it held back in August of 2024. We got an undercut, a gap under this green trend zone, and that was the exact low before we went on to go from 520 all the way up to about that 612 mark. So this zone is going to be extremely important going forward. And I wanted to note that because look at where we failed the past couple of weeks. We pushed up into it these couple of days, could not really get any extension beyond that. That's for a reason. This is showing that these are extremes right here. If we would have happened to get continuation beyond this green zone, that implies a melt up is coming. And obviously, the further in time this goes forward, the zone is going to keep getting higher and higher. And that's important because many people are probably thinking after this big bar right here, the bull market is over. This is the start of the next big correction. I do think this is probably the start of a bigger correction, but I don't think this bull market is over anytime soon. I think we're probably just getting too exhausted to the upside. Look at how many daily closes and opens we had within that green trend zone. We started to find exhaustion. Positioning was too overcrowded to the upside, in which when you don't have enough range to use to the upside, you either go sideways or you get a big pullback. We were going sideways for a number of days and we finally got that big pullback. Sure, it might have occurred because of news, but that news only accelerated a technical pullback that was, in my opinion, waiting to happen. It was just a matter of time because if that pullback did not come, we were a couple of days away from getting the same exact move to the upside, in which we probably could have gotten a move up to that $700 mark on SPY by the end of the month, in theory. That would have probably made it harder to keep trying to buy higher at higher prices without getting any kind of meaningful pullback. So this pullback, in my opinion, is pretty healthy. It was much needed. I'm not too worried that the next bear market is coming quite yet. If we happen to take out this low around that 620 mark, then maybe I would start getting worried, but that's still another $40 lower. So until we're below the August 1st low, I wouldn't quite think that a crash is coming, but a bigger correction still could come. Each one of these zones on this chart, although it looks crazy, it's for a reason. Look at how we held this red zone, started to push up higher. We couldn't quite get to the green one. We pulled back to the red one, started to go up, pulled back, kind of just held this one. So the next point of reference for me is if we keep projecting this zone right here, and we keep projecting that green zone, there's potential we do get a bigger pullback down to this area, which is going to be about that 647 to 650 mark on SPY. So about a $12 to $15 move lower from today's close. There's even more confluence if we happen to come down into this 642 to 644 area. We have the anchored VWAP from this June 24th gap. We also have this kind of demand zone, supply zone, you could say. You also have this huge volume shelf right here. And also look at how this volume shelf is building because we do have a pretty excessive gap right here. This gap is going down, and this could potentially bring another massive move to the downside if it actually comes and it breaks down beneath this low. That's basically 657 to 645 area. There's not a lot of volume traded there, which means in theory, if this happens to roll over in an aggressive way, this could happen in a very quick manner. So in my opinion, the most likely path going forward is we keep trying to go higher, those moves higher fail, and we somehow make our way down into this gap right here, kind of bounce around here, and then we decide from there if we're going to get that bigger correction under 644 to 648 area, or if this is going to hold for a new all-time high. We could, of course, not do any of that and we just start exploding tomorrow into the end of the week, going into the following week, and we come back up and test new all-time highs and test this zone right here. If that occurs, new all-time highs, that 674 area, we really need to get above this green zone though, because even if we make a brief new all-time high, this could be a potential scenario where we take a new all-time high and then we fail and we get a much bigger decline than we even had right here. Maybe not in one day, but it happens over multiple days where we get multiple 1 to 2% declines. And that dip keeps dipping and it kind of washes out everybody. So I'm looking at this in a few different ways, but I do think it's probably likely into the end of the month or at least by the middle of November to get that reset and kind of retest this area down here. Maybe even try to take out this higher low right here because we do kind of got a daily broadening formation starting right there. We already have this daily broadening formation here, so I just kind of wanted to note and kind of put this chart on watch. I don't really post this chart anywhere, but this is one that I've been tracking essentially for the better part of the last 2.5 years. Be mindful of where SPY is, what the potential scenarios are, because we could just digest in this general range for the better part of the next month or so. If that happens, you can expect all of this gapping price action. Over here, we kind of did the same thing. We got gaps down, gaps up, daily engulfings to the downside, daily engulfings to the upside. But it was a slow incline over time, so the uptrend is still there. It's just a matter of are you able to catch good day trades or good swing trades? Once the VIX gets back below 18 to 16 area, it could be a good idea to kind of get some exposure to the downside, especially if you're swinging a bunch of longs. Might be worth looking into some end of the year expiration on some puts to swing. But overall, this is still a very healthy market in my opinion. There are cracks starting to show underneath, so there are reasons to be cautious, but for now, I'm cautiously optimistic. And to basically summarize everything I mentioned with this chart, be very prepared for massive amounts of range, huge day trades, a lot of volatility in general, and be mindful that those big moves might end up resulting in that we go the opposite way in the next few days after those big moves. So a lot of potential back and forth until we get outside of this range. So until we're under about that 640 mark or we're above 675 to 680, there can be a lot of big ranges to trade. So stay safe, make sure you're sizing your trades appropriately, don't take on too much risk, especially if the market does start pulling back in a big way, because it can get very ugly very quickly. But for now, I'm taking it day by day. And hopefully this helps piece some things together on why SPY might be trading the way that it is, and hopefully it helps keep you out of trouble. With that being said, don't forget to like the video, drop some comments on what you want to see in the next video, and I'll try to cover those on the next watch list as well. And until then, good luck with your trading.